Reborn. I watched the rich girl lose her footing and fall into the sea. But I didn't lift a finger to save her. Because of my past life, when she stumbled and fell off the Golden Gate Bridge, I reacted instantly, grabbing her collar and pulling her up. But after she got back, she sued me. She claimed that when I pulled her up, I also lifted her clothes, exposing her pale, slender waist. "He's just some poor kid trying to take advantage, isn't he?" she'd said. "He must have read too many novels about saving the rich girl and marrying into the family. Did he really think he could try that on me?" But all I could think about at that moment was saving her life. How could I have worried about anything else? No matter how I explained, public opinion wouldn't believe me. My startup company, just getting off the ground, saw its market value evaporate overnight. With nowhere else to turn, I jumped from the roof of my company building. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the bridge, and the rich girl was clinging desperately to the railing, ordering me to save her. I chuckled. Well, Miss Olivia, feeling adventurous today, playing on the Golden Gate Bridge like it's a swing set. "Ethan, what are you just standing there for? Can't you see I'm about to fall?" Olivia clung tightly to the bridge's truss, her arms trembling slightly, clearly about to lose her grip. In my last life, I didn't hesitate for a second before grabbing her collar and hauling her up. She hadn't even thanked me afterward, but I hadn't expected any reward. I just thought I was doing a good deed. I never imagined Olivia would go back and accuse me of indecent assault and attempted rape. Public opinion, fueled by her embellished story, took the video of me saving her and dissected it endlessly. In that situation, he clearly could have grabbed her hand to pull her up. He deliberately went for her collar, didn't he? Exactly. One hand would have been enough to pull her up, but he used another hand to grab her clothes. Otherwise, her waist wouldn't have been exposed like that. Disgusting creep. I knew what he was after the moment I saw it. No matter how I tried to explain, nobody believed me. It even dragged down my business partner and my fiancée. Helpless, I could only jump off the building to prove my innocence. "Ethan, didn't you hear me?" Olivia's voice was starting to tremble. She and I were university classmates. She'd always been the campus queen. Later, due to some circumstances, I had to interact with her, but she never gave me the time of day. There were too many guys fawning over her, and a self-made tech guy like me was the least valuable kind of admirer in her eyes. Out of politeness, I always kept my distance. Seeing me just watching her without moving, she started to panic. "Ethan, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to blackmail me into accepting your marriage proposal?" "Dream on." I turned to leave. The will to survive forced her to concede. I'll accept your proposal." "Okay." Her arms were shaking more violently now. I turned back, frowning slightly. "Who proposed to you?" She stopped breathing for a second. "I am planning to propose, but it was never going to be to you." "Okay." I already had someone I loved. For reasons beyond my control, I had to maintain a decent relationship with Olivia. But a few times, she'd seen gifts I prepared for my sweetheart and completely misinterpreted them as cheap attempts to win her over. I still remember her words, trying to win over her rich eyes with this cheap junk. Then she crushed the gifts meant for my beloved and fed them to dogs. In the past, I'd followed the principle of avoiding trouble and put up with it. But now I didn't want to endure it anymore. Since she looked down on me so much, twisting even my act of kindness into something malicious, maybe it was better to respect fate and enjoy a little schadenfreude. "Ethan," with a final scream, she lost her grip on the truss and plummeted downwards. White waves churned on the surface of the sea below. Standing on a bridge, I looked down but couldn't see any sign of Olivia. Even though it was water below, falling from that height was practically the same as jumping off a building. Besides, Olivia couldn't swim at all. Life or death, it was hard to say. Sighing and shaking my head, I felt a pang of regret. If only she could have shown a little more kindness to people, I wouldn't have just stood by. While perhaps not morally right, there's no law compelling you to save someone in peril. She brought this on herself. Just as I was about to leave, a familiar figure swam rapidly towards where she fell. Thinking I was mistaken, I quickly pulled out my binoculars. The moment I saw the person swimming towards her, my breath caught. Wasn't that Ryan? The adopted son who had lived the life meant for me for 18 years. I had always thought I was an orphan. It wasn't until I turned 18 that I learned I was the true son of the Song family, switched at birth. But the timing of this revelation wasn't great. My biological parents had already passed away in an accident, leaving behind only the adopted son who inherited their estate, Ryan, and an arranged engagement to Olivia. But I already had my own sweetheart. For years, I had tried to explain this and break off the engagement. Unfortunately, Olivia held me in utter contempt. Every time I tried to approach her to clarify things about ending the engagement, she assumed I was just a poor boy trying to curry favor with a rich miss, and she'd have people throw me out before I could say much. Through the binoculars, I watched Ryan carry her ashore. Olivia's clothes were soaked through, clinging tightly to her body, some parts almost transparent. Her top was pulled up quite a bit, revealing even more than she had in my previous life. Yet, she didn't seem to care, clinging tightly to Ryan's neck, pressing her entire body against him. Reading her lips, it looked like she was saying, "What would I do without you? You saved my life." I was speechless. In my previous life, I hadn't even given her clothes a chance to get wet. The part of her I accidentally exposed back then wasn't even a third of what was showing now. Yet, she had insisted I was guilty of indecent assault and attempted rape. Now, pressed against Ryan's chest, she didn't even bother pulling her clothes down. I pursed my lips and turned away. At least this time, the break between us was complete and absolute. Ending the engagement should be straightforward now, right? Olivia wasn't doing well. The impact of hitting the water had ruptured one of her kidneys. They couldn't find a suitable match anywhere. When I arrived at the Shin family home, before I could even speak, Olivia's mother slapped me across the face. "You rotten brat. Why didn't you save my daughter when you saw she was in danger?" Olivia's father was equally indignant. "You were always just a poor kid, nothing compared to Ryan, who received an elite education since childhood. If it weren't out of respect for your dead parents, we would have changed the engagement to Ryan long ago. You received such kindness and still didn't know how to behave. Were you hoping my daughter would die so you could take over her inheritance? Let me tell you, dream on. Even if we die, our fortune will only go to our daughter and Ryan." Ryan was there, too, standing beside Olivia, who sat in a wheelchair. He shot me a cold glance. "Brother, I know you grew up without guidance and have poor morals, but I never thought you'd stoop to something as vile as watching someone die without helping." I touched my stinging cheek, then stepped forward and punched him hard in the face. Everyone gasped. "Ethan, what are you doing?" I pointed down at Ryan, an adopted son who was mistakenly raised. "Why do you have to bark at the true heir like this? I grew up without guidance. But at least I wouldn't take my benefactor's inheritance, Ethan." Olivia grabbed my hand, her brow furrowed tightly. "I won't let you touch him. Neil, apologize to him right now." I glanced down at her, frowning. "Who do you think you are giving me orders? What did you say?" Given Olivia's looks and family background, she was used to men worshipping her. Who had ever spoken to her like this? Hearing my scorn, she trembled with anger. "Are you saying you don't want me to marry you anymore, Olivia?" I shoved her hand away. "Listen carefully. I never wanted to marry you. The engagement was arranged by the previous generation. I never agreed to spend my life with a spoiled, arrogant brat." Turning to her parents, I declared firmly, "Starting today, the engagement between your daughter and me is null and void. I fully bestow it upon the adopted son of the Song family, Ryan. Your daughter, I don't want her." Olivia's parents nearly stumbled. Their daughter had always been sought after, begged to marry. This was the first time she'd been rejected face to face, and by a poor kid, no less. "Ethan," Olivia gritted her teeth, "you have nothing. Are you trying to make enemies of both the Shun and Song families?" My steps paused. Olivia thought I was backing down and sneered. "Come back right now, kneel, and apologize to Ryan. If you do, I'll consider not breaking off our engagement." "You wish." She froze. "What did you say?" I turned back, my eyes filled with mockery. "The woman I love is 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than you. She stood by me when I had nothing and built this life with me, never looking down on me because I didn't have money. Who the hell do you think you're trying to take her place? You owe, my dear brother." I looked at the teeth-gritting Ryan and smiled. "I won't pursue the inheritance. Consider it money for your passage to the afterlife. After all, your days are numbered. Ryan's breath hitched. Only after I walked out the door did his roar follow. Ethan, how dare you curse me? I paid him no mind. First, I went to the sales office and finalized the purchase of the waterfront mansion I'd had my eye on. It was the one Sophia had admired with envy when we first arrived in this city. Then, I went back to our rented apartment. The apartment wasn't large, but the aroma of cooking filled the air the moment I opened the door. Hearing the door open, a girl with a ponytail poked her head out of the kitchen and flew into my arms. You're back. I made a new delicious dessert today. Seeing a smudge of soot on her delicate face, I felt a pang and gently wiped it away. These past few years, it's been hard on you. What are you talking about? I chose you, so I'm not afraid of hardship. You're definitely going to make it big someday. I believe in you. Living in this small apartment, it's inconvenient for everything. You've had to put up with a lot. Hey, she tapped my head lightly. What crazy talk is this? I told you to just focus on your work. I've got things handled at home. This is what I signed up for, so what's there to complain about? I cupped her small face, rubbing it gently. Your birthday is in a couple of days. I have a big present for you. Really? Her eyes lit up. Is it that little cake you bought me last time? Let me tell you, that was so sweet and delicious. I've been thinking about it forever. I smiled and shook my head. Bigger than that. Then must be. She thought for a moment. I know, the hair clip. I removed the faded loose hair clip from her hair and replaced it with a new one I bought. Bigger still. Her eyes widened. She touched the new hair clip, her face alight with surprise. After twirling in front of the mirror a couple of times, she shook her head. I really don't know then. Besides cake and hair clips, what else could it be? I watched her, smiling. You'll find out in 2 days. Hee. She bounced over to me, stars seeming to twinkle in her almond eyes as she looked at me. Whatever you give me, I'll love it. I stroked her head. As long as it's from you, I love it. My phone vibrated. I checked it. It was Olivia. Ethan, let's meet. This was the first time she had ever initiated contact with me. An invitation, no less. If it were any other guy, this would probably be the long-awaited breakthrough, right? Too bad I never planned on waiting for her. I blocked the number and went into the kitchen to help. Over the next 2 days, my phone kept receiving calls and texts from unknown numbers. Since I had many clients, I occasionally answered by mistake. Olivia's voice was furious. How dare you block me, Ethan? Don't tell me you went crawling back to that poor, ugly fiancé of yours. Olivia, my voice was ice cold. Insult me, and I won't bother arguing. But if you speak recklessly about Sophia, don't blame me for being impolite. Ethan, how dare you talk to me like that? Do you believe I won't? I hung up immediately and blocked that number too. The rich Aries had never been contradicted before. Having her pride wounded for the first time, she couldn't let it go. That's why she was so desperate to contact me, hoping to regain her sense of superiority. But who did she think she was? In 2 days, I would start a brand new life with my beloved. But I never expected that 2 days later, Sophia would disappear. I searched the entire city, but couldn't find a trace of her. She wasn't answering her phone or replying to texts. Just as I was frantically mobilizing my friends to help search, I unexpectedly saw a promotional photo for the Sean and Song family's joint marriage announcement on the giant electronic screen downtown. In the picture, Olivia, wearing a long gown, was held by the waist by Ryan as they danced gracefully in a magnificent gilded hall. Their elegant dance stunned the onlookers. This is the very picture of high society. He's handsome. She's beautiful. Rich families really don't produce unattractive people. So, I stared in shock at Olivia's smiling face. When could she stand up? She had clearly suffered multiple internal injuries and was confined to a wheelchair. What was going on now? My phone vibrated. It was a call from a friend, Ethan. We found Sophia, but my breath caught, and I immediately rushed towards the hospital location my friend sent. When I arrived at the hospital, the first thing I saw was an unconscious Sophia and the distinct scar on her waist. She's missing a kidney. Bro, seems like she gave it to someone. My friend looked at me with pity. Ooh! My hand trembled as I reached out to touch Sophia's face, afraid to press too hard, afraid of hurting the bruises there. We don't know. When we got there, We just found her lying unconscious in ice water. My friend lowered his head. Ethan. Sophia's voice was weak. I quickly bent down. What is it, Ethan? I'm here. Ethan. Sophia. Ethan. My friend gently pulled my arm. She's not awake, man. She's just calling your name subconsciously. Also, we found this in her hand. A small red velvet box was handed to me. Inside was a digital watch and a note. You mentioned your watch was broken last time, so I picked out a new one for you. I set the time myself. My heart clenched. A month ago, I'd casually mentioned my watch wasn't keeping time correctly, and she remembered it until now. My company had only recently taken off. Before this, we barely had any money, so she must have saved up for a month, scrimping and saving to buy me this gift. Ethan, we just got word. Sophia signed an organ donation consent form. A directed donation? My friend paused. I grew anxious. Directed donation to who? My phone vibrated again. I answered. Olivia's voice dripped with smug satisfaction. Ethan, miss me? Hearing the arrogance in Olivia's voice, my brow furrowed tightly. You did this. Of course. You were so disrespectful to me. Didn't you deserve a little lesson? But your poor ugly fiancé isn't half bad, you know. Her kidney suits me perfectly. Olivia. I felt like my heart was being squeezed, wanting desperately to tear her apart. But her tone became even more provocative. Don't call me that. Are you even worthy of using my full name? This was just a warning. If you ever dare treat me like that again, I'll make you pay even more. From now on, you serve me well. Got it. Then she hung up. The veins on the back of my hand bulged. How could Sophia have voluntarily donated her kidney to Olivia? She disliked this condescending heiress more than anyone. There had to be something else going on here, something I didn't know. I started frantically searching for recent news about the Song and Shin families' companies. I discovered the reason for their arrogance. Their joint venture had secured a massive investment after going public, allowing them to aggressively pour money into cornering the market. And the market they were forcefully occupying was precisely the untapped market I was about to enter. Take it back. I clenched my fists tightly. Launched the product immediately. Squeezed the Song and Shin families out of the market. In my previous life, they destroyed my fledgling company overnight. That debt I would collect now with interest. I had been starting a business with my friends all along, something the Shin family and Ryan knew nothing about. To them, I was still just an aimless poor kid. But they didn't know my new product was poised to completely dominate their market share and become the industry leader. Unfortunately, in my past life, I was destroyed by online harassment the night before the product launch. After my death, Ryan took over my product, claiming kinship and using the fruits of my and my partner's hard work to achieve his own success. Meanwhile, my fiancée, trying to seek justice for me, was framed by the combined efforts of the Shan and Song families. Her body left uncollected. This time, as soon as the product launched, it immediately created a frenzy in the industry. The investors backing the Shun and Song families pulled out overnight, and massive amounts of capital poured into my company. I also signaled my allied business connections to launch attacks against the Song and Shin families. Both families had already made numerous enemies during their peak. Now that they were vulnerable, everyone rushed to push them down. They started looking for new investment. And it was at an investment gala that I ran into them again. You can't even hold a fruit platter. Steady. Is this how you serve that poor boyfriend of yours at home? Passing by upstairs, I heard Olivia's scolding voice from below. I instinctively looked down and frowned deeply. The woman serving Olivia, holding the platter, was Sophia. My phone vibrated instantly. I answered frantically, my subordinate's voice trembling on the other end. Mr. Song, your wife, she's missing. I looked down below, gripping my phone tightly. Olivia sat in a high-back chair, looking displeasedly at Sophia. Your man owes us so much money. Did you think giving up one kidney would clear all his debts? Dream on. Serve me properly now, and maybe I'll consider giving him a discount. Sophia bit her lip tightly. Her body, still recovering, clearly struggled to hold the heavy platter, but she forced a smile. Please, Miss Olivia, be magnanimous. Don't make things too difficult for him. I slammed my fist hard onto the staircase railing. Now I understood why Sophia would voluntarily donate her kidney and why she would appear here shortly after waking up. Olivia had lied to her, telling her I owed the Shin family a significant amount of money. My company had indeed faced near-fatal cash flow problems during its startup phase. So faced with Olivia's threats, Sophia wouldn't have doubted her. And knowing I would never let her demean herself in front of others, she chose to keep it from me. You can't even hold a platter. Are you sincerely trying to atone for his sins? Using such heavy metal for platters, Miss Olivia truly lives up to her noble family name. Hearing my voice, Olivia froze for a moment. Seeing me, she frowned unhappily. Who let him in? Is this kind of investment gala a place someone of his status can attend? Get him out of here. A hard slap landed across her face, knocking her right out of her seat. Ethan, Olivia had never been treated like this by a man. Not even her own father, who treated her like a princess. Looking at the red handprint on her face in a nearby mirror, she gritted her teeth in fury. Ethan, kneel. I pulled Sophia's hand and turned to face Olivia. This debt you owe slowly. With that, I started to lead Sophia away, but she struggled, trying to pull her hand free. Ethan, don't worry about it. He knows all about your situation. Don't worry. He won't let her trouble you. You should go first. She tried to push me away. My eyes stung, and I pulled her back forcefully. You silly girl. What money do you? They owe me if anything. Huh. Quite the boastful tone, brother. Ryan opened the door, helped Olivia up, and held her protectively, looking at me coldly. Sneaking into a high-end gala is one thing, but bragging like this? You're truly embarrassing our parents. I raised an eyebrow. You have the nerve to bring up our parents. If I'm not mistaken, the inheritance mom and dad left you has been completely squandered by now, hasn't it? Ryan Briscoe, he thought he had hidden it well. Both he and Olivia thought they hid it well. Even though their market share had been decimated by me, and enemies were kicking them while they were down, they still maintained the heirs of the privileged son and daughter they once were. Perhaps that's why Sophia had so readily believed I owed them money. Business always has its ups and downs. A poor kid like you, who hasn't handled major projects, wouldn't understand the intricacies. One of the Shin family servants couldn't stand it anymore. Do you know who the main figure at this investment gala is? It's the CEO of the recently famous Song Corporation. With the background of my mistress and young master Ryan, they just need to make a move, and they'll secure investment from CEO Song. Once that happens, the inheritance money they lost will be like pocket change. Giving it back to you would be nothing. I paused. They were here looking for me. This investment gala was indeed organized by me. Knowing which companies would have bright futures for my past life, I started scouting for investment targets. As soon as I made money this time around, adopting an open approach, I hadn't placed many restrictions on participating companies. I hadn't expected these two families to get in. What are you waiting for? Make her work. She spilled the fruit. Deduct the cost from her wages. Hearing Olivia's bossy tone, Sophia quickly moved to pick up the platter. I grabbed her arm firmly as Mrs. Song. She should be the one serving you. You. Olivia's eyebrows shot up. Ethan, are you trying to oppose me? Brother, let me clarify. Although you also share the surname Song, this CEO Song is not in the same league as you. Ryan sneered. Technically, I'm also a Song. Does that mean CEO Song's wife is my wife too? Maya is not. Olivia thought I was intimidated and snorted. Leave this woman here. You can go. You can't even protect your own woman. Ethan, you really are just a useless poor boy relying on a woman to fight your battles. You're here to ask CEO Song to invest in your companies, correct? I led Sophia forward, pulled Olivia up forcefully, and had Sophia sit in her place. Olivia was dumbfounded. Ethan, do you know what you're doing? I held Sophia down gently, preventing her from standing up. Of course, the investment applications from the Song and Shin families are hereby rejected. Furthermore, all business activities of both families are blacklisted. They are permanently barred from any cooperation. Both Ryan and Olivia froze. Sophia also looked up. Ethan, what are you saying? My business card. Let me introduce myself. CEO of Song Corporation. Seeing the card, both Olivia and Ryan's eyes widened. Ryan immediately tore the card up. How could you possibly be CEO, Song? Where did you get this fake card printed? Olivia also frowned. Ethan, stop pretending. Do you think he doesn't know what you said? A poor kid will always be a poor kid. Do you think you're like Ryan, raised with an elite education? Mr. Lin, you too. Perfect timing. Please throw this imposter out. Olivia grabbed one of my partners who had arrived upon hearing the commotion. Mr. Lin was hosting this investment gala. But Mr. Lin just frowned, shook off Olivia's hand, walked straight up to me, and bowed respectfully to the Song. It was my staff's oversight to let such people in. I'll have them removed immediately. What? Olivia's breathing became ragged, her chest heaving violently. How could you be CEO, Song? You were clearly just one of my admirers. Mr. Lin grew impatient. CEO, Song never pursued you. It was always you being delusional. Did you really think with the Shin family's wealth that you were worthy of CEO, Song? Olivia had never suffered such humiliation. She pointed at Sophia and yelled, "If I'm not worthy, is she? Don't think I don't know. She's an orphan from the same orphanage as Ethan." Slap! I struck her across the face again. She clutched her cheek, eyes red, staring at me. I gave her a cold glare. Throw these two out. Bar them from participating in any future business activities. As Ryan was being dragged away, he still couldn't believe it. Ethan, how could you? Clearly, I was the one raised by mom and dad. I was the one who inherited millions. What right do you have to lord it over me? After clearing out those people, I turned back only to have my chin suddenly grabbed. Sophia stared straight into my eyes. Look me in the eye and tell me what's going on. Wasn't it about owing money? I grinned and raised my hands. Didn't I say I had a big gift for you? This mansion. Do you like it? Sophia's eyes widened. This place. This was the waterfront mansion I had bought for her, the place she had admired with longing when we first came to this city. Now I had bought it for her. You really are? Her breath trembled slightly. I cupped her face. So, are you happy? You jerk. Her eyes narrowed, and she punched me lightly on the chest. I stumbled back slightly, confused. Sophia. But the next second, she threw herself into my arms, tears streaming down her face. You must have gone through so much hardship. My heart seized. I thought hearing about my success would make her jump for joy, speechless with excitement. I never imagined her first reaction would be to feel sorry for me. To have such a wife, what more could a man ask for? The mansion was quickly transferred to Sophia's name. The company was running smoothly. I originally wanted Sophia to stay home and enjoy life like a wealthy lady. After all, she had endured so much hardship with me over the years. From now on, she wouldn't have to worry about household chores. She could do whatever she wanted. Unexpectedly, feeling bored at home, she came to the company looking for something to do, and she really found her calling. She took over the company's recruitment efforts entirely. A steady stream of talent was brought into the company under her purview, causing the company's market value to soar even higher. It was around this time that I received another message from Olivia. The first thing she said when she called was, "I canceled the engagement." I was a bit puzzled. "Oh, Ethan." Her tone sounded very displeased. I said I canceled the engagement. Don't you understand what that means? What are you trying to say? I don't have a fiancé anymore. You can start competing fairly now. I was momentarily speechless. Olivia continued, "I know all those things you did before were just playing hard to get. Honestly, without me looking down on you, would you have achieved your current status? You only got here because of me. I admit I'm a little moved by you. Starting today, you can come find me and officially pursue me. I'm giving you this chance." I was even more speechless. If I'm not mistaken, the Shin family has gone bankrupt, right? Olivia faltered. So now you don't have the status of a rich heiress. No position, no resources. What makes you think you're worthy of me? Ethan, you? She was choked up for a moment, but it seemed that experiencing the harsh reality after bankruptcy had taught her some patience. If I'm not worthy, is your fiancé worthy? She eats your food, uses your money, and still has no status or resources. She's not even as good-looking as me, Olivia. I cut her off. My type is a strong, capable woman, not a little girl like you. Understand? Sophia is exactly what I look for. Cuteness means nothing next to real substance. You get it? These words were meant to provoke her. Her looks, praised since childhood, were the core of her confidence. Now that I had ruthlessly destroyed that foundation, she couldn't accept it. But I didn't give her a chance to argue, continuing, "As for my fiancée, she is incredibly capable and deserves the best in the world. I became who I am today for her, never for you. I'm happy to spend everything I have on her, but for you I wouldn't spend a single cent." "Ethan," I sneered and hung up the phone. A few days later, I received news that Ryan had committed suicide by jumping off a building. I was right. His days were indeed numbered. Even without my intervention, given his propensity for squandering our parents' inheritance, he would have eventually been trapped and bled dry by others. At that point, with his mentality, survival would have been impossible. Unfortunately, the inheritance our parents left him was long gone. There was no money left for his passage to the afterlife. Although everything was moving in a positive direction, there was one thing I hadn't finished yet. Soon after, I found Olivia illegally obtaining a human organ. Did you think signing this thing would make it legal? I tore up the organ donation consent form. "What you owe Sophia, you will eventually have to pay back." The police quickly took Olivia into custody, and I used some connections to ensure the kidney taken from Sophia was transplanted back into her body. After a period of recovery, Sophia quickly returned to her former health. Olivia, trapped in prison, actually managed to call me on the phone for the first time. She sobbed uncontrollably. "Ethan, you won. You really won. I agree to marry you, okay? Get me out of here quickly. This place is nothing like the Shin family estate. I'm not well. If I stay here too long, I'll die." I sighed. "What made you think calling me was a good idea?" "Ethan, stop playing around," Olivia cried out loud. "I was harsh on you in the past, but now I've agreed to marry you. I can write a guarantee. I'm not tricking you this time. Get me out, and we'll get our marriage license immediately." "I swear." "No need. Sophia and I already got ours." She froze. Years of pampered life had convinced her, even now, that she would be every man's first choice. I thought she would finally give up, but unexpectedly, she continued, "I can be your mistress. I know you can't let go of me. I can wait for you to divorce her." "Olivia," I finally lost all patience. "I have never liked you. Never. Don't you understand? There has only ever been Sophia in my life. Who do you think you are? Did you think everything I did was just to get your attention and win your heart? Don't ever contact me again." I hung up and blocked her number. Olivia had no other means of contacting the outside world from prison. From then on, I was never bothered by her again. The next time I heard about her, it was news of her suicide in prison. The pampered Aries couldn't accept the drastic fall from grace. She couldn't coexist peacefully with her crude cellmates. Instead, her princess-like temper often led to her being beaten by them. Finally, late one night, unable to bear it any longer, she ended her own life. Hearing this news, all I felt was a sigh. Her life didn't have to turn out this way. Even though I never liked her, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to make things difficult for her. But she insisted on pushing herself down a dead end. Ultimately, she destroyed her own future.